Testing, testing. this time, I'd like to call the ASD board meeting to order. It's June 4th, 2018. All board members are present. Our student representative is not present. And if I can have Deena Mitchell lead us in the flag salute, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And first, I'd just like to welcome everyone tonight. Thank you for coming out and being with us, and those that are watching online, YouTube, wherever it's at, live, thank you for joining us also. We want to welcome you to our board meeting and thank you for attending and supporting the work of the Anchorage School District and the board. The board thanks students, parents, teachers, staff, school business partners, and the entire community for your investment in our district with your time, your talent, and your tax dollars. If you're unable to be physically present for the entire meeting, you may choose to tune in to the Municipality of Anchorage Channel 9 or YouTube to watch the live stream. Recordings of meetings are also available through the agenda on the board docs. We're going to do, thank you for being here tonight, but I do want to talk a little bit about we do not conduct evacuation drills in our meetings, so if an alarm sounds or an alert is announced, please begin to take safe action immediately. In the event we have to evacuate this building, 4 exit doors are located to my left, your right, and all have lit exit signs over them. Once you enter the atrium, proceed quickly along the safest route to a door leading out of the building. If you do not have a vehicle here or it is unsafe to enter your vehicle and you need a place to wait for help, we have designated the parking lot next to the gas station as our rally point. If you see something that is dangerous, we encourage you to speak up and clearly alert the room of danger you see, and we encourage everyone to quickly begin to take safe action. Okay, thank you. If we could have approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
At this time, I'd like to amend the agenda. I'd like to have our military report before our public testimony. Is there a second? Second. Okay. No dissension, everybody's okay with that? Okay, great. So then at this time, I would, do I even see them? Oh, there they are. They're hiding. Okay. Approval of, yeah, we did. Yeah. So welcome. Colonel Knight, I hear you're leaving us.
I am. I'm actually having my household goods packed up. Started today, so. And
where is your next destination?
Ma'am, I'm going to Colorado Springs.
I've been there. We were stationed at Colorado Springs Field when it was a field some time ago.
We're looking forward to it. So
yeah.
It's a lot of days like the weather today, so that should be good.
Great. Well, I hear you have someone here to introduce.
I do. This is Lieutenant Colonel Ben Dainty. He's going to be the Mission Support Group Deputy, and we'll do a lot of the liaison with the school district, and hopefully keep up the great relationship that we've had at least as long as I can remember, 2011. And there's a lot going on with the school district, a lot going on base, and so we'll continue to work together, and I think he's very committed to doing that.
Well, welcome. Thank you, Colonel Dainty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And I heard we just got some troops back too.
We did. We got the, I think the final mission came through this week with the 425, and so we brought back all our Army Infantry Brigade combat team from a very successful deployment in Afghanistan. Where we seem to be constantly in the process of bringing people in and pushing people out, and so we'll look to see that throughout the summer as both on the Army and the Air Force side we'll see people flowing in and out for a variety of different things, primarily in the Pacific. So that's good news. We had a great deployment. And speaking of the relationship, we're looking forward to working with the school district. It looks like it was announced that we're going to close a school on the installation, and we appreciate the partnering on that, and then working to find the best possible solution for both sides. And as we know, consolidation of things to gain efficiency is extremely important right now, so that we can put as much of the money towards the teaching and less towards the overhead. And so we're excited to be a part of that and understand why that is. We're excited to invite everyone out to the Arctic Thunder Open House, which is going to be spectacular this year. So we're looking to have, another record year of 200 and some thousand people. We're having a great rehearsal day, which also is Special Needs Day, and we bring in a variety of people from throughout the community. So we're looking forward to that and hope that you can come out. So it should be great. There is a busy summer of change, as you mentioned, so I'm going to bid farewell, and I really appreciate the board and Dr. Bishop for working with the installation, for the great focus that you have on military children and some of the unique circumstances that they have, and I really appreciate that. There's no school district like that. I came from, quote unquote, the famous Fairfax County School District, and there's some incredible things that the Anchorage School District does here that they just don't do there, and how they equip some of their kids, and so I appreciate that as both someone who's had kids in the district and also someone who's worked with the schools, and they're definitely not prioritizing the schools like military kids like you do. And I think that's all I have for my comments, unless you have something for me.
No, as a board, I'd like to thank you for your service and for your relationship with us and working so closely with us and the benefit of our children. And we welcome Colonel Dainty, and I'm sure he will do a fantastic job also.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to move on to public testimony on non-action and non-agenda items. And the board welcomes public comments on agenda items, both action and non-action, as well as in general. We value public comment as it both ensures that we remain aware of public thoughts, ideas, and concerns, and informs our decision-making process. We have a table here in front center with 2 seats and microphones available for testimony. When I call your name, you have 3 minutes to testify, and you may begin speaking when the time appears on the screen to your left and begins the countdown. When you have 30 seconds left, the number will turn yellow, and when the timer reaches 0, please finish your sentence as soon as possible. Additionally, it's not our practice that board members answer questions or engage in discussion with members of the public. This is your time to speak and our time to listen. The board will consider all information shared by the public, and when deemed necessary, issues raised in testimony will be referred to administration for follow-up. Okay. At this time, I'd like to call Ann Tusky and Diane Hofbar. And again, I apologize if I pronounce anybody's name incorrectly. Please bear with me. And Ann, you can begin when you're ready.
Good evening. My name is Ann Tutsky, and I am the mother of Natalie Tutsky, a 5th grader, and also a soon-to-be kindergartner at Orion. You may recall at the last board meeting, Natalie, who is a stutterer, she spoke out to you. You see, Natalie has always been a stutterer since preschool. We moved from Delaware to J-Bear in 2017. I knew that Orion was an amazing school from having lived here before. So I called over to see if they had any openings, which they did not. So she was placed in our home school, a school where there was only 1 3rd grade class, which had 27 kids in it, 20 boys and 7 girls. It was a rough 3.5 months. What many people don't know is that when change in a stutterer's life occurs, their stuttering greatly increases. Natalie was not receiving the proper amount of therapy she was needing at this time, and we deemed the school just was not a good fit for her. However, there was a light at the end of the tunnel because we did the lottery and we were accepted at Orion. The staff at Orion has been nothing short of phenomenal. On Natalie's first day of 4th grade, I received a call from one of the speech therapists saying that she very much disagreed with how much speech therapy Natalie was getting prior to attending Orion. We met very soon after, adjusted her care, and have been so pleased with the level of support, care, and encouragement we have received from everyone. She even gave a speech to her class and over the intercom at school, teaching others about stuttering and what they can do to help. She had her classmates in tears because they were so proud of her. After she was done, all of the students ran up to her and gave her hugs. We love how all the children are really taught to care for one another as a family. Military life is hard. There are so many deployments, TDYs, changes, not being near family, friends coming and going, just to name a few. I know they say military kids are resilient, but that doesn't mean that they don't struggle. The one constant in their life should be the school that they want to be at, where they're supported, cared for, inspired, and educated. I hope you reconsider your proposal to close Orion. We're proud to be part of the Orion Lions family. Thank you.
Thank you. If I can have Tanya Lebies. And Diane, you can begin when you see the clock. It's right over here.
Good evening, Board. I am Diane Hoffbauer, and I am the principal of Susitna Elementary. I am here tonight to share some really great news from our school. As we were reviewing our end-of-the-year benchmark reading proficiency data, it became clear that some wonderful things had happened this year at our school, especially in the classrooms that were using the Reach for Reading program. I am not here to share the details of our data, although some classrooms showed up to a 40% increase in their reading proficiency and through the Ames web measures that we use in our district. Instead of that, of the specifics of our data, I would like to share with you 5 reasons why we believe students did very well this year. 1, teachers who showed significant growth used the Reach for Reading program as it was intended. Teachers who showed significant growth used the multitude of resources that were provided. Teachers who showed significant growth welcomed our coach into their rooms. Teachers who showed significant growth attended and applied the professional development offered to them throughout the year. And teachers who showed significant growth used support staff, specialists, and consistent progress monitoring data to differentiate for the individual student needs. All 5 of those pieces were incredibly important for the success that we saw in the classrooms. Our coach led monthly meetings to take a look at our progress, answer questions, listen to concerns, offer suggestions, and to provide support and positive encouragement. It became a we can do this, we are doing it, we did this, and that was just amazing to watch. Many teachers were looking for materials that would challenge their students. They believed that their students could be pushed harder, and the students did grab onto it. Teachers found ways to make templates their own, and they also worked as a team with a focus to do what was needed. And in the kindergarten rooms, kids still had opportunities to play. Change is hard. Such structured change is even harder. Success came from teachers working hard and meeting that challenge head on. They took action and they solved problems and concerns as they came up this year. I would like to thank the board for the opportunity for Susitna kids to do it, to do the program, and we're really looking forward to this coming year with additional supports. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Mandy McConnell. And Tanya, you can begin when you see the.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Levis, and I've been a teacher in the Anchorage School District for 22 years. I'm here to advocate and reclaim my voice as an expert for what children need in a kindergarten classroom. Children need time to play. Play is not optional, it's fundamental. We need to be honoring where children are at developmentally and celebrating their successes. We are now, with our new mandated 90-40-40-60 curriculum, there's no time for hands-on learning. Students who are 4-, 5-, and 6-year-olds are being asked to sit and listen to their teacher give direct instruction all day. I was recently told that there was no time for play, brain breaks, transitional times, or art projects. Play is important for a child's physical growth and development, mental development, social relations, and emotional development. Play is the primary means in which children explore and learn about themselves. Research shows that play is central to children's learning and influences the way they navigate their lives as they become adults. You ask, what are the benefits of play? Well, play allows children to use their creativity while developing their imagination, dexterity, and physical, cognitive, and emotional strength. Play is important to healthy brain development. It is through play that children engage and interact. Children need to be allowed to manipulate materials, engage with their peers, engage all of their senses, and work through their thoughts and feelings. They are not made to be sit in front of their teacher and listen to them talk. I'm asking you to please realize the importance of play and not take it out of the kindergarten classrooms. The second thing I want to address is the lack of communication within our district. We are not all receiving the same messages. We need to have total fidelity across the board. I recently attended the Summer Teacher Academy and had the benefit of talking with several individuals from the administrative building. And I was appalled to hear that that isn't what we expect. That's not what we told administrators. That's not right. Yet we are told these things at our professional development trainings. There wasn't any common consensus among the group, but instead they passed the blame on why their message was coming across differently to teachers, administrators, and board members. Within our district, we need to have full disclosure of expectations, not this total lack of communication within the chains of command and information getting construed. So I'm asking the school board to please get out there and into the classrooms to talk to teachers and see what we're actually being expected to do, because I can guarantee you it's not the same as what the district is telling you. I have an open door policy, and I encourage you to come visit my classroom and witness for yourself the inappropriate developmental expectations put on students. Please find the time for play in your mandated academic timeframes. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Tim, Andrew? Is Tim here? Okay, and Mandy, you can begin as soon as you've seen the clock.
Good evening. My name is Mandy McConnell, and I have taught kindergarten for over 12 years in the Anchorage School District. I'm here again today to express my concern over the curricular mandates this fall that don't allow for play in kindergarten classrooms. I received an email during the last week of school on a FAQ on the Kindergarten Academy in August. For those that are unaware of what this academy entails, it is a school transition process that prepares students and helps them alleviate first day fears by giving them an idea of what kindergarten will be like. Under the questions of what do students and teachers do during the academy, it states that veteran teachers say it best: you do kindergarten by introducing some class routines, engaging children in early literacy experiences, and connect them with new students. It also suggests to read them a story, sing a song, do a simple craft, have snack, and offer many choice time. If I did this, I would be setting false expectations. Kindergarten teachers are being told there isn't time in the academic block for students to play, no adequate time to fit in arts and craft projects, or even time to make an alphabet book. Typically, I would read a story about kindergarten, but what good would that do except show these incoming students that their experience in school will be nothing like the story I am reading. I have bought 12 books about going into kindergarten, and 2 of them are Reach for Reading big books. Guess what they all show? Students playing in centers, students playing in dramatic play areas, students playing in sensory tables, and students playing with blocks. Yes, even the Reach for Reading books show students playing and building with blocks. We are doing our students an injustice if we cannot find at least 30 minutes of play in their day. Research consistently shows that play-based and child-centered learning activities help students grow academically, socially, and emotionally. Center Time or Free Choice offers a natural setting for these young children the opportunity to internalize new information, interact with their peers, and solve problems on their own. These young children need the opportunity for free exploration. I am not asking to disregard academics in kindergarten, but we need a more balanced approach to instruction. Our mandated academic timeframes are so rigid that my coworker was concerned when her kindergartners were able to have snack. She was told that maybe they could eat while they were writing. Are we so focused on increasing language arts test scores that we are disregarding the needs of 4 to 6-year-olds? There is more to kindergarten than literacy and math. It's about social-emotional learning, making friends, and solving problems, all learned through action. A professor from the University of Texas said it best: kindergartners deserve the learning experience in school that nurtures their development as well as their desire to learn and interact with others. Doing so will assist them in seeing school as a place that will help them and their friends be better people. Please mandate play in kindergarten. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Jennifer Aslock. And Tim, you can begin when you see the timer.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Bishop, my name is Tim Andrew, and I'm the principal at Creekside Park Elementary, and I'd like to share with you some thoughts about our implementation of the Cengage Reach for Reading program this year. First, a little background. As you may know, Creekside was a National Reading First grant program in the early 2000s that helped us strengthen our reading instruction by focusing on the 5 pillars of reading. It also helped us focus on students' learning progress data to help determine instructional needs. Shortly after that, we joined other Title I schools in the use of explicit instruction methods aligned to Houghton Mifflin reading. Since then, we've been known for very tight reading instruction, closely aligned with the district's adopted reading program. I mention this because we, like many schools, were nervous about the implementation for Reach for Reading. But we also knew we needed to go in with an open mind and teach the program with fidelity before we could really make recommendations for any necessary changes. And we did. After teaching with the new materials for the first quarter of school, it was clear that the program was content and activity rich, but impossible to teach in its entirety. So at the beginning of November, 4 veteran teachers from Creekside joined teachers from Fairview and Lake Otis Elementaries to work with the Professional Learning Department and Jennifer Ashlock to make recommendations for key instructional routines. This collaborative work by practitioners became the priority plans and practice sets that would be shared with other schools. 4 schools went on to pilot these priority plans and practice sets, and Creekside was one of those schools. Feedback from piloting these plans and using the new materials revealed a few things worth highlighting. First, narrowing the focus of what to teach through the use of the priority plans allowed students time for independent practice of targeted skills, while also providing teachers and other instructional staff time to work with small groups of students for instruction, as well as regular progress monitoring of student learning. The Reach for Reading writing prompts in early kindergarten we found too challenging and required modification. These modification ideas were among the materials that kindergarten teachers collaboratively shared with each other in Google Drive. The Reach for Reading materials are content-rich in science and social studies, and the themes lent themselves to multidisciplinary projects that leveraged art, music, and social-emotional learning standards in those activities. In summary, change is hard. My primary team at Creekside had some challenges in implementing the new Reach for Reading program off the shelf. But by coming together as collaborative professionals to identify the best ways to implement this program in our highly diverse and transient district, and by consulting the latest research and sharing ideas with each other, we are learning to use this program to help us meet the promise we make to every one of our students at Creekside to prepare them for success in life. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Jennifer, you can begin when you see that. And after Jennifer, I'm going to call up Posey Boggs. I think that's Mary, Bonnie, and Jennifer.
I'll restart this.
And she's going to restart.
Okay, thank you for having me here. I'm Jennifer Ashlock, and any closer?
No, you can just tell.
Okay. I'm Jennifer Ashlock, and I'm the owner of Ashlock Consulting. I am your national literacy consultant who's working with your English language arts plans. So just so you know a little bit about myself, you know, I've had my company for about 15 years. Prior to that, I worked for a consortium on reading excellence in California and was a senior manager for them. Prior to that, I have 20 years of classroom experience, including many, many years teaching kindergarten and grade 1. So I want to make sure that you know I've taught in 4 different school districts. And the idea behind the priority plans, I go into school districts and I train people within the school district to understand the research and the materials that you purchased. So I don't work for any particular publisher. I've worked in 30 different states. I work all over the United States in many different school districts. And whatever materials you have, my job is to help you understand how to do the priority pieces for those. And so I was so excited today. We had 25 of your staff doing an amazing job, 3rd through 5th grade, working on the priority plans today. And they were all really excited, all really enthused about the plans they were developing. The plans are not designed to tell teachers what they can't do. The plans are designed to help them know the research-based pieces that you spent money on when you adopted these materials. The materials you purchased are like many other program materials that are out there. There's research behind how kids learn to read, and that is not at all mutually exclusive of having fun, actively engaging kids, working on vocabulary and comprehension. So I encourage anybody who has questions. I'll be in the Blue Room all this week. If you were in my kindergarten classroom, my first grade classroom, I totally appreciate the concerns that teachers are sharing, but that's never anything I have said to any of your teachers. Play is not exclusive of learning. Reading instruction is not exclusive of actively engaging kids. So I would expect brain breaks. If you watch me demonstrate for the coaches in classrooms, you'll see my kids are singing, they're up, they're moving, they're talking to each other, they're playing, but they're also learning to read. Ultimately, we have an accountability. My job is to make sure every child leaves this district reading. And we know there are critical markers that if kids don't meet it, we have 30 years of research that says they're not going to make it. And so that's what we're doing. And the team today was amazing, and I just thank you for the opportunity to let me work with them.
Thank you. So, Jose, you guys ready?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Hall-Jones, and thank you for hearing us all together as a group tonight. I am with the International Dyslexia Association, and I'm also part of the Alaska Reading Coalition. So we and others are part of the Alaska Reading Coalition. We're a grassroots coalition with one goal: improving reading outcomes in Alaska. To this end, we've been working on a bill, HB 64, that starts a legislative reading task force to improve student reading proficiency across the state. We believe that this is just the first step in a series that will respect the unique needs of the Alaskan school districts while creating school environments that improve reading outcomes. We are thrilled with the support of the majority of the legislators, and we anticipate Governor Walker signing the bill very soon. You are all invited to the bill signing ceremony, and date and time to be announced. And as a way of introduction for the rest of the coalition, we're encouraged by the Anchorage School District and want to complement some recent decisions made, because we see new evidence-based practices unfolding at the Anchorage School District that will support our goal.
Thank you. My name is Mary Claire Kretschmar, and I'm here representing Literate Nation of Alaska and a part of Alaska Reading Coalition. And as a segue to what Jennifer said, I would like to highlight and discuss 3 points. First, Anchorage School District has a highly transparent online data dashboard that shows how our schools are doing in 14 areas. The data dashboard shows a high amount of transparency at ASD about reading outcomes. This is unique among districts across the nation and even internationally. We checked. We complement the transparency of the data dashboard because it provides the community with accountability about student outcomes, as well as opportunities for our community to engage in decision making. Secondly, ASD's commitment to transparency with the community was demonstrated as one of the Anchorage's Chamber of Commerce's Make It Monday Forum, improving Anchorage's economy and community by increasing graduation rates on January 8th of this year. Dr. Bishop reported that in an effort to reduce the time burden testing places on teachers at the elementary level, schools could opt in to have an option for a testing team to do the teachers' testing. After the testing was completed and the testing team's assessments results were on average different from the teacher's test results. Dr. Bishop was quite open about this difference. Many other districts across the nation would not have been this transparent. Kudos to Dr. Bishop. Thirdly, and maybe most importantly, one last point about student data. We are thrilled to learn that ASD's universal screening procedures have added critical subtests that help identify students who may be at risk for reading struggles so that their teachers can individualize students' reading instruction. Thank you.
Okay, to continue in our very positive testimony tonight, we're really thrilled to be able to do that. My name is Bonnie Friedman. I'm also part of the Alaska Reading Coalition, and I represent Decoding Dyslexia for Alaska. And Decoding Dyslexia is a parent-led grassroots movement concerned with with limited access to interventions for students with dyslexia in public schools. So to continue our story tonight, another step forward occurred in February 2018. The Special Education Department published a brochure about specific procedures outlining how the school district works with those students challenged by dyslexia. For those parents that have been told for many years, as I have, that their students can't be dyslexic because it doesn't exist, this was a remarkable turnaround. This brochure is available at the STEP Center. Recently, while attending the International Dyslexia Association meeting outside, we learned of another effort by ASD to support struggling readers and writers. ASD has signed a 3-year contract with a globally known assistive technology company with an assistive technology product called Read Write Gold, a Chrome browser extension. It is known to assist all students who struggle with reading, spelling, and composition. You can find it on ASD's Chromebook computers at school, and we look forward to it being available for students at home as well. It has been shown that students who receive direct instruction in how to use this technology do extremely well.
Okay, so finally, I'm Posey Boggs, and I'm here as the Alaska Reading Coalition. And we want to also say that one of our big focuses is the prevention of long-term reading problems on students, and it does start in kindergarten. So what we'd like to talk about is the fact that every school district across the nation, when they adopt a English arts, language arts curriculum, ASD, as ASD has done, has to adapt it to provide additional support to teachers in their efforts to help students who especially are struggling with the sub-skills of literacy. Like all systemic changes, each district must adapt to better address the needs of the diverse needs of their populations. English language arts curriculums are designed by publishers, and they cannot take into account the variations in teacher knowledge about reading instruction and the reading sub-skills that are required. Further, publishers can't address ASD's need for the consistency of interventions for students who do struggle and who are also highly mobile across the school district. With modifications, we hope that, and what we think is happening, it may reduce the time burden on teachers that's necessary to differentiate and pull out of the English language arts what individual students and their groups might need. We reviewed ASD's adaptations with the material in the templates and such. And we believe what is being provided is could be called a universal intervention that is designed to improve reading outcomes for all district students. Universal interventions is an important concept that we support. An example of a universal intervention is like our nation's anti-smoking campaign. Everybody gets it. even if they are never going to become a smoker. It's the same with moms and dads against drunk driving. Everyone gets that universal intervention not to do that, even if they're never going to have that behavior. So universal interventions is how we see the templates from Ms. Ashlock. Universal interventions are delivered frequently and in small doses. How many more commercials of TV don't smoke can you handle, right? The adaptations to reading curriculum, we believe, provides a pathway for teaching these critical sub-skills that are the basis of reading problems in the future. And we believe that they can be delivered efficiently, which is important for our students so that they do have time to play, and that's what we're seeing. Let me see, what can I skip? For students to become proficient readers, they need these sub-skills of phonological and phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehensive strategies, and they need to be practiced. The adaptations will support our teachers by providing these templates for efficient instruction. Making decisions about what part of the curriculum to use for those sub-skills, for new teachers especially, is impossible. You need the leadership of these adaptations to suck out of the English language arts curriculum the most important things to instruct our students on. In conclusion, we as a coalition, it takes a lot to get us excited, but I can say that these items have been rumbling around in our collective heads since November, and we wanted to compliment the school district, the teachers, the administration for making these changes. And our goal as the Reading Coalition is to create legislation so that good things that happen outlive your terms on this board and your career in the Anchorage School District. So thank you.
Thank you. If I could call Jennifer, I think even with my glasses I can't read this. Oh, okay, thank you, Jennifer. And Veronica Pope. And Jennifer, she's going to start it over, but you can begin when you see the clock there.
Thank you. My name's Jennifer Wiseman. Thank you for your time. First, I just want to say thank you for continuing to partner with UAA concerning the Northern Journeys grant. The grant has and will continue to positively impact student learning as well as provide quality professional development for teachers. Second, I would like to speak in regard to our newly adopted Reach Her Reading program. I am about to embark on my 20th year teaching, and I currently teach grade 1. And my teaching heart is broken. I truly struggle teaching page by page from a scripted reading program. This type of instruction goes against every fiber in my teaching body. I have spent my entire career striving to become a master teacher. I have a 3-year master's of education in the area of acquisition of language and literacy. I'm nationally board certified in the area of language arts. I have taught the Ed 301 language and literacy development class at UAA. I've spent over $25,000 of my own money attending 5 summer reading and writing institutes at Columbia University, and I'm also an ASD initial hire. I understand that it's important to provide consistency across the district, but I think it's a valid question to ask. Is it possible that we are negatively impacting student learning as we enforce a scripted one-size-fits-all program? I respectfully ask all stakeholders to turn back time and pretend to be 6 years old again. If I were to teach you how to write an opinion piece using our current curriculum, you would be asked to read a story and write about a character in the story. If I were to teach you how to write using Writing Workshop by Calkins et al., which is considered to be the gold standard of teaching of writing, you would be asked to bring in 5 of your favorite toys, rank them in order from favorite to least favorite toy, then write an opinion piece to convince our classroom of readers why your favorite toy is the best. Please keep in mind that I would explicitly teach a skill every day. You would learn that strong writers write a question to hook the reader, write a strong statement, Describe the toys using details. Write a con. For example, one problem with my toy is, write a positive. Then another strong statement, and finally you would be asked to rate your toy. For example, my toy is 5 out of 5 stars. So honestly, at 6 years old, which lesson would you prefer? I can tell you from experience that my students can barely contain themselves walking into our classroom ready to rank their favorite toys. Students want to do writer's workshop immediately. Bottom line, students view themselves as writers and they see writing as meaningful. At conference time, my students share writing portfolios with their parents. This fall, I literally had a parent sit back in her chair and state, "My children have never learned how to write like this." In addition, it's also common for my students to bring their writing out during recess time. And I have often heard my students tell their peers, "I'm going to be a writer when I grow up." I want to personally thank all stakeholders involved in taking the time to choose a program for our district. As a beginning teacher, I would be honored to use Reach for Reading as a guide. However, as a teacher who has spent almost 2 decades researching how to teach reading and be told that I must start teaching the writing in this program, it breaks my heart. In our negotiated agreement under the section titled Preamble, it states the following: we are committed to attracting and nurturing well-trained, dedicated, and collegial staff. I respectfully ask that all stakeholders stop and reflect on what's best for students. Please trust and nurture the professional educators that you have hired and help mend broken teaching hearts.
Thank you for your testimony.
My name is Veronica Pope. I'm an early childhood educator, preschool teacher, and an ASD parent. As an advocate for keeping experiential learning and play in kindergarten classroom, I'd like to take a moment to share 10 things that everyone should know about play. 1, children learn best through play. Don't underestimate the value of it. Children learn cognitive skills, physical abilities, new vocabulary, social skills, and literacy skills. 2, play is healthy. Play keeps children growing strong and healthy, and it also counteracts obesity issues that many children face today. 3, play reduces stress. Play helps children grow emotionally. It is joyful and provides an outlet for anxiety and stress. 4, play is more than meets the eye. Play is simple and complex. There are many types of play: symbolic, sociodramatic, functional, and games with rules, to just name a few. Researchers study play's many aspects on how children learn through play, how outdoor play impacts children's health, the effects of screen time on play, and the need for more recess in the school day. 5, make time for play. Play shouldn't be cut from a young child's daily schedule without first understanding the consequences. You need to make sure that they have as much time to play as possible during the day to promote cognitive, language, physical, social, and emotional development. 6, play and learning go hand in hand. They are not separate activities. They are intertwined. Think of them as science lecture with a lab. Play is the child's lab. 7, play outside. Remember your own child or outdoor experiences of building forts, playing on the beach, sledding in the winter, or playing with other children in the neighborhood. Make sure children create outdoor memories. 8, there's a lot to learn about play. There's a lot written on play and children. There are many NAEYC articles, books about play, and this is my favorite. It's called The Power of Play. 9, trust your own playful instincts. Remember as a child how you play just came naturally, and all the powerful learning experiences you gained. Give children time for play and see all that they are capable of when given the opportunity. 10, play is a child's context for learning. Children practice and reinforce their learning in multiple areas during play. It gives them a place and time for learning that cannot be achieved and completed through a worksheet. Play provides rich learning experiences and leads to children's success and self-esteem. Much of what I've just read was taken directly from the NAEYC website, and I'll remind you that early childhood education goes through the age of 8. The greatest minds in top universities understand the value and power of experiential learning and play-based learning. Please don't ignore what is so blatantly right and give young children what they need and what they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. At this time, Dr. Bishop, we're ready for your update.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to share initially that the upcoming negotiations meeting scheduled for from the time frame of 4 to 8 p.m. Include starting on June 19th and 20th. As you know, our present contract with AEA, the Anchorage Education Association, runs through June 30th, and we hope to make some progress in June, as well as we already have sessions signed up for in July and August until an agreement is made that we can bring back in front of the board. So we appreciated the board's input, our newly elected officials coming on board, and the direction that has been set to move forward. So I wanted to share that, and we did a news release in regard to that today. Also, MECAC, the board president asked just for an update on MECAC. We had some folks here at the semester, but we finished up our last meeting the last day of school, and then wanted to just share one item from there. And then next year, we believed quarterly that each quarter that MECAC meets, MECAC will present out. But as a closure, just wanted to share that one of the groups that partnered brought a problem, if you will, to MECAC and found a solution with the district was in regard to ACT prep, College Board prep for the tests into college. And so these are just some pictures. We had a poster of thanks. I don't know if that's up here. Here it is. It was called the ACT and College Prep Boot Camp. A local church provided the trainer who actually came up from BYU, but they partnered with quite a few other organizations in Anchorage, from ASRC, Cook Inlet Tribal, as you can see there, UAA, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and they had on nice weekend days kids present to teach them about this, and their upcoming ACT is in June. I believe it's June 15th, Saturday, June 15th. So they wanted to share a thank you. And ASD's part was really to support the technology that occurred that day. They needed access, they needed wireless fast service. So what we did, rather than trying to do their work, we said, what is it that you need with your work? How can ASD support you? So then we, at their training center, provided the guidance, the support. Our folks were there so that their trainer and training would go off without a hitch. But it was not only the students from this one church youth group, all others, they had advertised it, and others were invited. So just wanted to show that that was a big success, and the board received this back as a thank you. It occurred on the 29th of May. Just a little brief, but to know, next year we'll have quarterly updates from MECAC, and the folks from MECAC will share that. Happy to say that we have quite a bit of professional development going on at Anchorage School District Summer Academy, which we call ASDSA, Professional Development, and we have 1,200 participants, 72 courses. You heard one shared today in regard to reading, and I believe if kindergarten play was brought up by the teachers last week. I heard a summary, so I just want to share that they actually are problem solving that and found a 30-minute time frame within the writing for different what do they call, little units where the kids work. So they're troubleshooting that, listening to teachers, and yet moving forward with teaching reading in all grade levels. So I believe some of the group that was here actually participated in that. But this is the 16th year of ASDSA, and by the end of it, we'll have 1,600 credits earned by our educators, which support their movement on the pay scale, which is terrific. And it's sponsored by UAA as well as ASD in cooperation to be able to give those units. for professional development. And for our teachers, every 5 years, 6 credits need to be earned. So this helps them with the recertification as well. In addition to summer opportunities for teachers, our teachers have not stopped working. They're taking classes, but some are also continue to teach. And we're pulling kids in this summer at 40 programs at 36 different school sites. They are all of our grade systems from preschool to high school. We actually have a little bit of college going on too, because it's a high school partnership. Total amount of students that we will serve is 5,100 by the end of the summer. And in credit recovery alone, this before June 30th, we have 1,200 kids already in credit recovery. And they would come into the district. So for the last week of school, as they were signing up, I would just chat with kids as they came through. And they were reasons. One boy said, you know what, I goofed on a grade and I want to play football, so I'm going to get that taken care of. Someone else said that they wanted to just get ahead in some places. And somebody else said they want to graduate, so they were waiting on graduation. So they're really all different grade levels, kids just doing their very best to receive credit, because research demonstrates that when they're in a class, they didn't miss everything, they missed certain parts of it, and or something happened in their lives that was, you know, didn't allow them to finish. And the high school credit recovery allows them time to finish, and so we're real happy about that. Quite a few kids. The models we have are enrichment, so there are just enrichment of academics presently, academic support, which would be additional support before they enter classes in school. We have credit recovery, which helps them after it has gone awry a little bit to get that credit back, as well as college preparation. So we have equal moving forward and enriching, as well as supporting kids in their needs, just taking a look at what do kids need. The funding sources are very different. Some of them are from the general fund, such as credit recovery, but we also have grants from Indian Ed, ELL, Special Education, Migrant Ed, Title, Starr Talk, and 21st Century. So we have quite a bit of different funding sources, and we're just trying to be creative to offer that. And just so you know, our new secondary curriculum director, executive director, Christina Bellamy, is, when she interviewed, a key feature was how she worked with all different units to bring bring greater value using all of those resources of funds. So I look to have her bring us together even more to be able to move forward as funds dwindle, to really think of new ways that we can stretch those funds. And actually in her interview, she spoke exactly to a project she did in Washington about summer school. So I'm just wanted to add that in there. Partnerships we have with different community groups in regard to the summer programs, and they're there, you know, on the screen. Those are some that are happening this summer for extensions. And of course, our goal is just to support kids in ASD, whether they're just initially going into school, whether they've been in school, need more supports, or whether they just want to hurry up and get out. We want to support them in what they see as their education and support them through. We do have some recommended principal hires, and folks are here, and I would love to have you just put a face with a name. We have many more hires than have been completed and coming before you, but a new principal at Mount Spur, if you could come up, is Anna Walker. And as she's coming up, I'm going to announce them all, but if I announce your name, you could come up. I just asked them to just introduce themselves a little bit so you could put a face with a name. Alana Hyder from Wonder Park. Yeah, you can come on up. And Diana Beltran will now be our new principal at Willow Crest. And then Ron Brown is our new principal at Save. And so if these could come up, each of you take a seat, and then as one person gets up or down, but just tell us a little bit about yourself and your new jobs. Just excited to have 4 new principals here.
Hi, my name is Deena Walker. I am a new principal at Mount Spur. I was born actually outside the United States. I was born in a small country, Belarus, and I graduated from the university there. I came to the United States about 13 years ago and been with the Anchorage School District for about 12 years. I'm very excited to be here. I am extremely excited to be at Mount Spur and support our military families and our students. You know, they say that it takes a village to raise a child. I think to raise a professional, it really takes a country, not just a village. In my case, it's 2 countries. And I would like to say a big thank you to everyone who supported me through this journey and achieving and being here. My family, of course, foremost, and all people that have influenced me throughout the years. Thank you so much, everyone at the Anchorage School District. I really am happy to be here.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alisha Hilde, and Dr. Deena stumbled a bit because there's been controversy on how to pronounce my name. So however you say it is fine, but Alisha Hilde is how my mom would say it. I've been teaching for 28 years, and I'm super excited to now be at Wonder Park. In my interview, one of the questions was, why do you want to be at Wonder Park? And I didn't expect that question, but immediately I said I didn't know I wanted to be at Wonder Park until I stepped into Wonder Park. I was asked to be the principal there while Mr. Murphy was on a trip in Africa. And immediately, I mean, it's an old building, so it feels like an old home, and there's excellent staff and just such a diverse population. And if you can possibly get by Wonder Park to come visit, I'd love to show you around and show you all the great things that are in my head that I'd like to implement, and then just keep supporting everything great that's going on there. So thank you so much for selecting me for this job, and I'm very excited to get going, and I won't let you down.
Thank you and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Diana Beltran, and I'm a new Alaskan. I moved here as a mature newlywed. Before that, I was born and raised in California, where I was an educator for 14 years, 9 of which I was an administrator. I've been here for 3 years, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to work for Ursa Major Chugiak, and then again at Ursa Major as an instructional coach. I want to echo her thoughts in terms of why did I want to work at Willowcrest. I had the same feeling, so I just have a feeling that that echoes throughout this district. When I walked in and met the staff at Willowcrest, I felt a strong connection immediately. And so I'm deeply honored to be working for the Anchorage School District as a principal, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Ron Brown, and I am very excited to be the new principal over at SAVE. I've had an opportunity to visit the building and talk with some of the staff, and they have so much energy, and they're just ready to get going. And I hope I can bring some leadership, bring some energy, and bring some just out-of-the-box thinking. I've been around the Anchorage School District now for about 15 years. I've had a variety of different jobs throughout the district. And so I've had an opportunity to work with some great administrators. I've had a chance to work with some dynamic teachers, some outstanding families, and I've had some long, deep conversations with my mentor, and I just want to publicly recognize her, and that's Principal Cecily Williams.
Yay, Cecily!
I also am excited about working with our families through the SAVE program. I've had an opportunity to work with some of the families from SAVE while working at different high schools, and I'm just excited to get going. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, so I'm not an Anchorage high school student, but I've been here for about 30 plus years, and so I just feel like I've been here. I've done all my growing up here and becoming an educator, becoming a leader here in the district. And I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to work at the SAVE program, and I invite you out to the program. Please come out and see me and support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
And finally, Madam President, this is the closing remarks, but I wanted to share the work that you and your board provided at the work session, and this will be the guidance. Later on, you will see an action item for an adjustment in the budget for the line item for Senate Bill 142, the additional funds, which are about $5.5 million. And what came out of the work session for which to consider as we move forward would be 40% of those funds to rehire back 25 teachers and support secondary reading and math curriculum. There isn't a price on there. There was a cost. However, we are gathering other curriculum, and we look that to be less than $500,000. For that support, add counselors and other positions, specifically, actually counselors was what was specific, but we didn't know if there were some other positions mentioned, to have 10 to 20% there, and then put the remainder at 40%. That's what we have now, but when that item comes up, if this is incorrect, we hope that, we just wanted you to have a little bit beforehand. So thank you, Madam President, and we are on our way.
Great. Anybody have any questions for the superintendent or any comments on her update? All right, we're going to move forward to board conference and committee reports. And Ms. Snelling, would you like to go first on finance?
Sure. The Finance Committee met today. We did get an update from the head of student nutrition. We got some monthly financial statements up through April 30th, and we did do a fund balance review, and all those documents are available. Our next meeting is really far out there, August 7th.
Great. Ms. Mitchell, communications?
We are going to have our next, there has not been a communications committee meeting since our last board meeting, and the next one will be on June 20th at 8:30 a.m.
And Ms. Hilde, governance.
We haven't met since the last meeting, but we'll just be reviewing, we meet again same day as communications. You're all welcome to come. And we'll be looking at two policy updates and then considering some potential amendments, policy changes.
Okay, great. And we are ready for the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda, ASD Memorandum Number 175, the Personnel Report as revised, the November 20th, 2017 regular session minutes, and the December 4th, 2017 work session and executive session minutes.
There's a second? Okay. And will board members please vote? And that passes with 7 yeas. Okay, and we had a student hearing. I move to approve the expulsion of the student associated with ASD incident number 1265563 as discussed in executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
And board members, please vote. That passes with 7 yeas. Okay, on the action items, I move to approve ASD Memorandum Number 170 and authorize the superintendent to award a contract for the East High School Bus Loop Improvement Project to Dirtworks Incorporated for a total award amount of $685,000. Have a second?
Second.
Board, please vote. At this time, is there any public testimony on this item? If none, we'll proceed to vote. And that passes with 7 yeas.
move to approve ASD Memorandum Number 178 and authorize the superintendent to purchase insurance as outlined in this memorandum.
Is there a second?
Second.
And at this time, is there any public testimony on item 178? Okay, board, please vote. And that passes with 7 yeas.
I move to approve ASD Memorandum Number 179, revisions to the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, and authorize a reallocation of spending authority within the Municipal Assembly approved upper limit of $785,776,778.
Is there a second? Oh, thank you. Any public testimony on this item 179? Okay, board, please vote. Oh, yes. Okay, right. Okay. Okay. Right.
Okay. I don't know how to put the verbiage in there, Miss Katy. Okay, good. I'm going to close that. The reallocation of the spending authority within yada yada to add 25 teachers to lower class sizes, or do you want the specifics or just the percentages?
That's okay. 25.
Okay, 25 teachers to lower class sizes, support secondary reading and math curriculum intervention and training, add counselors and other positions, and put the remainder in unallocated.
Second.
So it's supposed to be word for word.
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute at ease to get that verbiage correct, and then we'll be back.
Okay.
We all do. And so this will be.
call everybody back, please? Andy, that includes you. Okay, we're back in session. If you'd like to.
I would like to reread my amendment just for clarity. I move to amend memorandum number 179, the revised budget to move 60% of the unallocated funds into hiring 25 teachers to lower class sizes, support secondary reading and math curriculum, intervention and training, and add counselors and other positions.
Second.
Second for clarity.
So did I have I had a second, right, Betty? Okay. Okay, all right. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion, then?
I'd like to just make one quick comment.
Okay, sure.
I'm very glad we got a little bit of money back from the legislature, and am really pleased that we'll be able to bring some teachers back on board and some of the resources that we really need to support our kids.
Yeah, I will second that as a board member. It's tough to sit up here and have to, and along with administration, and just, you know, say we're not doing this, we're not doing that. So it's great that we can put some money back into the schools. Thank you, legislators and such. So if we can vote on that. So we'll be voting on the amendment first. And that passes with 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Does that amendment change the upper limit? Does it, so I can just say main motion as amended? Because the money's on, the upper limit is based on that.
So now we're going to vote on the main motion.
As amended.
As amended.
So that was, and Betty.
And that passes with 7 yeas and 0 nays. Okay.
I move to approve ASD Memorandum Number 180 and adopt the attached resolution supporting a request that the municipality of Anchorage assign an additional 10 SROs to provide protection to all Anchorage middle schools.
Second.
Andy, would you like to, first of all, is there any comments from or testimony from the audience on Memorandum 180? Dave, would you like to talk to this before we vote, or?
You know, thank you, Madam President. Anchorage, the Anchorage SRO program, that's school resource officers. These are, for the public, these are APD officers that are assigned to protect our schools and interact with our students. They provide all kinds of positive influence in the community. But the program has not grown over the years beyond our high schools, with one exception, one middle school. And nationally, we're seeing an awful lot of very serious school threats against middle schoolers. And these SROs provide counseling, camaraderie, early warning, all kinds of services that I think are going to be would be a huge advantage to providing, making our middle schools safer and really protecting our students. And the APD has been adding dozens of new officers over the past 4 or 5 years, and I really think it's appropriate to designate some of those officers to expanding the SRO program to cover our middle schools.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Okay, at this time we'll vote. And that passes 7 yeas and 0 nays. And so at this point, we'll move over to non-action items. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from non-action items to discuss? Okay. No, I'm just asking, no discussion. Okay, so something I do want to talk a little bit at the, pardon? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're passing the non-action items, there's no discussion. Okay. So something I want to change is a number, we usually talk about future items, future business. I'd like to change that to new business. And I'd like for this to be an opportunity that the board could discuss things that maybe we don't have a chance to bring up or discuss in our regular meetings. If we have some thoughts or ideas, it doesn't necessarily have to be a future item, but it could be new business that you'd just like to bring up and maybe have a discussion. Just give us a little bit of time at the end of our sessions to have those discussions on if we want to move these forward, if we want to do anything with them. So at this time, I would ask board members if they have anything that they would like to talk about, if they'd like to express or comments or new business for the board that they would like to bring before the board members at this time. Yes, Andy.
I have something that I meant for it to come up under the old future items, but if Katy can put it up on the screen, I don't have a copy in front of me. But I wanted the board to see it prior to going to governance, which is, and actually a referral to governance is what I'm looking for. But this is an amendment to our board policy under negotiations and consultations. It's the addition of the underlined sentence at the bottom. It came as a surprise to us that we had started bargaining with AEA. We were unaware of it, unaware of the initial proposal. And I didn't realize that there was nothing in policy to prohibit that. We just don't address it in our policy. And in fact, in the contract with them and possibly others, it states that bargaining commences when the president of that bargaining unit contacts the HR director. So they were following procedure as it's outlined, although not necessarily past practice. But to keep that from ever happening, I'm going to propose this change with the idea that the board would always be approached first by any of our recognized bargaining units. But as I say, I'm looking for a referral to the governance committee on it.
Do you need a second, Madam President? I'll second it.
Okay. Board members? We don't have to vote on it, I don't think, but yeah, we will take that up in governance committee.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Anything else anyone would like to bring up at this time? Yes, Dave?
I'd like the governance committee to reconsider our current apprentice policy. I have a draft I would submit to the governance committee to lower the threshold for when apprentices would be utilized on projects.
Okay, that can be referred to governance. Okay, anything else? And if you'll get that verbiage to Ms. Hilde, that would be great. Thank you. Anything else? All right. At this time then, we will, any more public testimony from the audience? Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay. If you can both come forward and state your names, and Susan, you can go first, just because you jumped up first.
I jumped up first. Thank you and good evening, school board, Dr. Bishop, and members of our administration. My name is Susan Ritter, and I would like to thank you for listening to the concerns of the teachers in the past Board meetings, I appreciate that the board recognizes that open and transparent negotiations are critical for this upcoming round of negotiations for our contract. And speaking personally, I appreciate that you took this seriously, and we look forward to a positive upcoming negotiations. Thank you. That's the shortest I've ever spoken to you.
Okay. And if you could state your full name, please.
Hi, I'm Megan Card. I teach at Greening Middle School. Some of you probably know my name by now. I've been here a few times. I would like to echo Susan. I do appreciate that we are at open bargaining. I am intrigued to understand a little more about what Mr. Holleman was speaking about earlier, and not knowing that bargaining had started. I'm learning a lot about this process right now. I am still very concerned that our current contract expires June 30th and we only have 2 dates. Teachers were told our initial proposals back in April 24th, and so it seems like quite a bit of time has expired. You've heard a lot of testimony in these last few meetings. I hope you've seen the rallies and things, and I hope you are understanding some of the frustration and disappointment and challenges that educators are facing, and that a lot of us are not feeling heard. There's not a lot of ownership. I read an article, I hope some of you saw it, about another school district in Anchorage, Chugach School District, in Anchorage, sorry, in Alaska, and they were talking about some of their innovations, and they've come on top as having some of our best test scores. And part of the article stood out to me, and I just would like to read the sentence from the article. It says, "Our teachers are closest to the student, and they hold the most information and know they have the authority to diagnose each student in order to prescribe the best educational plan for each student." And in the rest of the article, they went on to talk about how they had seen a lot of success in giving teacher ownership. And my heart resonated with that, and I thought, that is what I would like to see more of in our district. I think if you were to poll all, I'm not sure what the current numbers are, 3,000 plus educators that we have in the district. I may not be exact in that. I think you would find there are a lot of people who are frustrated that they don't have ownership in a lot of what's going on. You heard some excellent testimony earlier from some of my kindergarten colleagues. I teach middle school, and I would echo that some of that same time to be, time to play needs to exist in middle school. All I would need to do this is to tell you about a field trip I took with my middle school students. We went to the museum, and part of our time was spent at the Imaginarium. 7th and 8th graders, they love the Imaginarium. They need time to play. I'm concerned about the constraints of science. One of my many assignments is that I teach science, and we recently adopted new science standards. We bought custom science materials based on the idea that science instruction would be strengthened in elementary school. And now in this new elementary plan we're hearing about, it does not sound to me that we are allowing for that. So I am an 8th grade science teacher. I'm supposed to be teaching students who are coming to me that are supposed to have a background in science, and yet based on the things we're hearing, some of my students may have only had 20 minutes a week in science. I already have students who haven't done basic science. I pull my students every year for fun, and half of them have never even, mixed baking soda and vinegar. They need that. They need higher order thinking. They need collaboration. They need projects. I hope you all are listening. I would love to sit down and talk with you all more when we have more time. I would love some feedback. I will still reiterate my invitation. My classroom is always open. I think you'll find many teachers don't want to sit and complain, but we want to know that we are heard, and we want you to experience and see what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. So one last chance, is there anybody else that would like to testify before we move on? Okay, thank you. Thank you to all of you that did speak tonight. We appreciate it. And at this time, are there any comments from the School Board Administration and Ms. Dr. Bishop?
Yes, because I know he's listening right now, the gentleman, we have a student from South High who graduated this year. He is runs the back door behind the glass mirror back there. He's kind of like the wizard. And he's graduated South High, received a full ride scholarship to Pacific Lutheran. And I'm hoping he could come out so we could give him an applause for doing such a great job in our technology. Bryce Wilbanks. Congratulations, Bryce. And Bryce, what are you going to be studying? Computer science, business, and German? Excellent. We hope to see you back in Alaska. Congratulations on your full ride, Mr. Wilbanks. Yay.
I want to say that I did tell Bryce earlier they should have dressed nicer, and I think he would have come down front.
Is there any other board comments? Anybody would like to share anything? Believe it or not, oh, okay.
I'll try to be brief. Two things occurred to me partly during the testimony. I started teaching at Diamond in 1996, and it couldn't help but note that some of the teachers earlier that we honored were students at Diamond while I was teaching there. But I should probably also note that they were never in my class. There were, for really good reasons. But it was a case that I had a lot of students that had very low background. I was a new teacher. I was teaching students that failed science the previous year. I was teaching students that were at the very low end of the class. And as would oft happen when I was talking to students in my teaching career, I was talking about things that they had never heard about. When I talked about making telephones out of string and cups, and I realized that, like, they're, you know, it's like, what's this guy talking about? So because paper cups and string was within my budget, that night I drew just a pretty simple lab that had a little bit of direction on how you make a telephone out of a couple of cups and string, but sort of left it open, and that's what we did as a lab the next day. And one of the things you're not ever supposed to admit, at some point in the class I realized I was missing about a third of my students that were just gone. And that's pretty scary because a lot of them were behavior issues and whatnot. But they had gotten together as a group, and they were sitting out in the hall in C Square, and they tied about 8 of them together. They created a party line, and very calmly taking turns talking to each other and listening to each other. I mean, it really was just one of those little lightning in a bottle moments as a teacher, that these were kids that were experimenting. They were on task. They were doing what they were supposed to do. Fortunately, we had no standards or curriculum to deviate from at the time, so I never could have gotten in trouble for that. But there are moments that present themselves in education where you want to be able to pursue that. And I think we're hearing a lot from people that they don't see where there's that time, that they, and I will tell you in private conversations, teachers that do it are feeling at risk. They're feeling at risk from their administrators. They're feeling at risk from the directions that they're being given on a day-to-day basis. And we have to build in time for people to pursue that. The other thing's on a completely different note. It was about 18 years ago today at Windward. I listened to Rhonda Gardner begin to outline to staff that had come for, I can't remember if it was a Saturday or after school, this thing called No Child Left Behind. And she was the NCLB coordinator for ASD on the implementation of the regulations. And just sitting and listening as she outlined what the criteria for evaluation was going to be from year to year, and what you had to do to avoid being a failing school, I can do enough math to go, we're all going to be failing schools. It is inevitable that we will be that any school will be a failing school. And to my knowledge, there's not a school in our district that was not a failing school under NCLB at some point. And in fact, if you really hit the pace just right, you would be a failing school for a year because that kind of lowered the bar, and then you would come back up for a couple of years, and then you'd be a failing school again because that actually got you to a better place. And you were going to be a failing school anyway. You didn't even really have to plan this too carefully. But The fallout from that was a lot of the testing, and our children that don't meet the cut score on the test has become this thing that we're being beat up with a lot. We need to turn the conversation away from that, but I realize what we don't have is a way of talking about the achievement that our students have. We've got some really high achieving. We can bring Bryce back out again and talk about him, and he's just outstanding, and that part's easy. But we need to talk about what does it mean when a kid doesn't quite measure proficient. Right now, I think the public perception is that kid just can't even write or read. He's not able to do anything, and that's really not true. And to be honest, only marginally different from the children that just barely meet proficient. And then we have a bunch of kids that the whole proficient cut score thing is just never even a consideration for them. They're never going to be near it. Some of them because they're never going to achieve it, quite a few more because it's never going to be an obstacle for them. In the same way that when we had the high school graduation exam, for a lot of kids it was a joke. For a lot of kids it was something they had to strive for. And for some kids it was a barrier they knew they were never going to cross. And they knew they could stop at 9th grade because they weren't ever going to get a diploma because they couldn't pass that test. But we need to be able to talk in detail and explain to the public what the various levels for our kids can do to get off of this thing of how many kids are proficient versus how many kids are not proficient. I have been thinking about it a lot. We need to be able to talk about it with more clarity. As someone said, when I started talking about the gap and how to some degree the gap can never be closed, that frightens some people. But it has more to do with the structure of how we're being evaluated, I think, than the job that we have. We do have to evaluate ourselves in a way that shows our flaws because otherwise you don't improve, and we need to improve. But we need to be evaluated in a way that emphasizes our success and not just our outstanding successes, but our everyday successes. The kids that move the amount they're supposed to move, the kids that move that weren't ever going to move unless they got good intervention. So this summer, while you're not doing anything else, I'm hoping that you can help give us some tools to talk about what our kids can do at all different levels as once again we go out to the public and to the legislature to talk to them as a way to push back on this public education is a massive failure thing. We need to be accurate. We're not successful all the time, but we're far more successful than people are letting on.
Elisa, you had something?
I'll go quicker than Andy. I just wanted to let the board know July 20th and 21st is the summer executive committee meeting of the Council of Great City Schools, and they're all coming up to Anchorage for this one. And so we will have some opportunities for the board and administration to come and join the members and come be a part of the conversation. And so for those that just want to pencil in that date or let me know that they're available, I would love to be able to introduce anybody and everybody that would like to come. As many of you guys know, this is their last meeting of the year. And this is probably going to go a little bit more on a personal note. I got 3 children, you guys know that, and they're all at 3 different schools. And I have worked with over 20 different teachers and PE teachers and librarians, band, art, 3 different principals, 3 different nurses. And it's been a very, very different year for our family. I have had some amazing experiences with my children this year. I've had a couple that were not so amazing, but we were able to turn them into really good learning experiences. My hope for my family is the same for this entire education community, whether you're an administrator or a teacher in this classroom or a board member, is to spend the summer and get refocused towards what is really, truly important so that we all come back, towards the end of the summer with the very best version of ourselves to make the very best positive impacts on our kids as moms, as board members, as teachers, as principals, as administrators, whatever it is, to just come back and let's not have a repeat of this year. Our kids are so needing so much better. And I look forward to coming back in August and doing that with everybody. So, thank you and have a great summer.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I thought we had a great board retreat. Thank you to everybody who worked hard on that. I thought that was really, thought it was productive, and it was nice to get to know some people a little bit better. And I had the opportunity to go to the ASD Summer Academy, SDA, I was thinking it's not Service Academy, Summer Academy, and talk to a bunch of teachers and sit in on a couple of classes, and I think that's just a fantastic opportunity, and I really applaud the teachers who take advantage of that at the end of a long school year, and I know people are burned out, but I was just really, it was nice to feel the energy in the building and see teachers getting excited about learning new things, and I really enjoyed that, so happy summer, everybody.
Okay, I'll end that with I too. It has been a hard year. It's been a rough year. It's been a challenging year. I think we've grown leaps and bounds. We've learned leaps and bounds. And I think next year I only see good things. And I think I see good things because we have good communication. We're doing our board meetings a little bit differently. We're having more communication within the board and be able to express our thoughts and ideas openly, because these board meetings technically are for the board to meet. They're not really public meetings. This is a venue for the board to meet and discuss issues so the public can listen. And I think we're doing, I actually think we're on the right road to what we want to accomplish as a board, and I think we're on the right road as what we want to accomplish as administration. And I can tell you everyone in this room and everyone outside of this room only has one thought, and that is what's best for our kids. And that's what we're all going to work towards. And so I just hope everybody has a great summer, and we will be back here. Well, we do have a joint assembly meeting on June 14th. Which will be here, and but our next board meeting will be August 7th. So everyone, please enjoy. With that, we are adjourned.